food was unavailable. There was no currency, there was no food, there were no shops. So we had to feed ourselves, and along with some of our neighbouring boys, there was one family, they had 7 children whom they had to feed. We used to go what we call hamstern. We would go out into the villages nearby to the farmhouses and beg. We'd beg for a piece of bread, anything that they could let us have, maybe a cabbage or something like that. And sometimes we would stay out long time, and of course our people back home would be worried as what had happened to us. But the Russian convoys were running to and fro in their lorries, and to get further afield, to get to other places that maybe we could, after all, the local farmers had closed their doors, they couldn't afford to give us any more, so we'd hitch a lift on these Russian trucks, and these Russian soldiers were very good to us children. We were children, and they'd take us along in their trucks to our next place of call and deliver us, or vice versa, bring us home with our little sacks of food that we managed to hamster from the local people, and we'd get home and we were able to cook. They were able to cook a meal or something for us.
Wow. So you're absolutely just fending for yourselves, and so you have a memory of being a hungry child.
Yes. And going back through the time, there were times, when we were really hungry, woke up in the morning hungry, went to bed hungry.
Where were your real parents at this point? Did you know?
No, we had no idea what had happened, because my mother was in Berlin, and my eldest brother, who'd by this time been returned to her, was with her in Berlin. But my youngest brother was in what was then Pomerania, and I think it's now part of Poland again. So as I said, he was on a farm there, and he witnessed the Russian soldiers coming in, raping and pillaging and killing any young men that they found, and he just ran away. He was 7 years old at this time, and he just didn't know what to do, but he knew that Berlin was 300 miles to the west, so he went off on the road to walk back to Berlin, and he told us that he actually made it to the flat where we had lived by the side of the Tiergarten in Berlin, and the Russians, having established that my mother was British, sent her and my eldest brother back to England the day before my young brother arrived from Pomerania to what would have been an empty flat. But a neighbour, she was a very nice, kind woman, took him on and sort of gave him shelter until the day that the authorities decided where my mother was, and to reunite him. I think it was via the air bridge that was going on in Berlin. But I'm not sure about that. But anyway, he was reunited with her in Barking in Essex, where she originally came from. While I was still with my foster parents, we were loaded into cattle trucks, rather the way we've now learned that they used to load the Jews into cattle trucks and took them to goodness knows where. we were loaded into these cattle trucks with just some straw on the floor, and we were shunted away from this little town that we were staying in, towards more central Germany. There was a place called Görlitz, which had enormous, you might call a concentration camp, because it was barbed wire all round, and we were put inside there. We were living in these huts in very, very severe conditions, but we all had, we were deloused, all our hair was shaved off, and hot showers and all the rest of it, so at least, and they gave us enough food to survive on. But friends of ours who also lived in Görlitz, and they knew my foster father when he was still in charge of the German railway there, they brought us food through the fence, and oh, did we enjoy that. We appreciated that.